Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another fragrance review. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And in this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at a fragrance by the company Prada, and this one goes by the name Prada La Femme. Let's go ahead and get the review started. Now this fragrance was released in 2016 along with the men's version, and the perfumer for this one, just like the men's version, is Daniela Roja Andrié. And of course she has done all of the fragrances for the Prada line. She is the in-house perfumer. So if you're familiar with Infusion, Infusion D'Homme, Infusion de Tuberose, de Iris, de Vetiver, you name it, the list goes on and on. So this is a rather light, soapy and airy composition, and of course it does have that iris DNA that we see in many of the Prada fragrances, and it does also have a resemblance to the men's counterpart. Let's go ahead and start the review off by taking a look at the presentation. So for the presentation of Prada La Femme, you're going to get this really big box with this nice texture on the front, and the very bottom here is where you have your information, and the serial number is punched into the box at the very bottom. You have nothing going on at the back except for the logo, nothing going on at the top whatsoever. As far as the bottle is concerned, you have this gold ambery colored juice on the inside here, very well done, and I love the Prada insignia here in the front. You also have Prada written at the very top, and I love this sort of white leathery feel that you have encompassing the perimeter of the back. Sticker at the bottom with your information. The cap does click into place, but don't pick it up from the cap because it is a rather heavy bottle, especially if you buy the big size. And then the atomizer for this one gives you a really nice distribution. And that was the presentation for Prada La Femme. Now, this scent is said to have the same DNA as a lot of other Prada scents, and we know that the perfumer is the same, and we know that iris is the leitmotif in Prada fragrances. However, with this fragrance, the iris note does take a back seat. However, that doesn't change the fact that this fragrance still smells soapy, fresh, and clean. You have a lot of floral notes in here, which I think add to the fragility of the fragrance. I'm talking about notes like tuberose, and I like the way that tuberose is usually partnered up with iris, and there's one fragrance that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, and that is Tuberose 1 Capricious by the company Histoire de Parfum. However, that fragrance gives off this rather lipsticky vibe. In this scent, it's more soapy and clean and fresh. And for that reason, it reminds me of fragrances like Infusion D'Homme, Infusion de Iris, Infusion de Tuberose. Infusion de Tuberose is probably the closest comparison that I can make with this one. Now listen, it also has the note of frangipani in here, which adds a rather exotic nuance to the composition. And I also like the inclusion of the note of beeswax. And for that reason, I think a lot of people are comparing this one to Beige by Chanel, which is part of the Les Exclusifs line. And I think that the beeswax notes adds this waxy component, pardon the pun, but I also think it makes it a little bit creamy and it adds to the sensuality of it, all the while being ethereal, soft, soapy, and fragile. Listen, I love this scent, and for the reason that I love many Prada scents, like Infusion D'Homme, which is one of my favorites of all time, is that they are the epitome of a signature scent. What I mean by that is with a lot of Prada fragrances, they almost like encapture or they mimic your essence, the way that you would smell once you got out of the shower, in that they prolong that smell of being clean. And I think that for that reason, people have a hard time differentiating between the smell of clean skin or the smell of skin on top of which perfume has recently been applied. And I think Prada always seems to entertain the former. It's a great scent. You can wear this one casually. There's never a bad time to smell clean. There's never a bad time to smell soapy. And I like that this one adds some pizzazz to that soapy DNA of previous Prada releases with the inclusion of notes like tuberose, frangipani, and beeswax. Let's go ahead and finish things off by taking a look at my rating. First up, I took a look at the uniqueness in the overall smell, and this is a unique scent in the sense that despite the fact that it contains a lot of the notes from its predecessors and other scents within the Prada line, this one still manages to do things differently. However, it is a deviation from what we've seen from the Prada house in the past, in the sense that the iris note in this one does take a back seat, so I would highly recommend you sample it before you buy it. Longevity on this one is okay. You're going to get 5 to 6 hours. It is an eau de parfum Femme. I was hoping it would last a little bit longer, but because of the compositional nature and it has a lot of sort of fragile notes in there, it is going to be rather soft, soapy, clean, and ethereal. And as far as projection goes, it does jump up off their skin for 1 to 2 hours, and then it starts to sit very close to the skin. And then as far as versatility goes, listen, there's never a bad time to smell clean. So the versatility is rather high with this one. Presentation on this one is also really nice. I like the white perimeter. And if I had to give this fragrance an overall score, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I think Prada did a fantastic job with this scent. Daniela Andrié composed a masterful creation with this one. Very proud of her work, and I'm happy to see that the catalog of Prada scents is growing little by little, steady and steady. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Prada La Femme. If you have any experience with this scent, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to rate and subscribe for future videos, and remember to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. Remember, I smell well so you can smell good, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.